Hi everyone, I'm here at JLF, a place where we meet people who are activists, authors, and so many issues get discussed here. It's like a microcosm, and here we are with Rafiul Alam Rahman, from originally from Assam and Meghalaya, and currently living in Delhi. I think anybody who knows about the queer movement in India should know him. He is the founder of the Queer Project.
The Queer Muslim Project.
The Queer Muslim Project, especially making it even more a complex issue to deal with. And can I just talk to you, start by talking to you about how you found yourself fighting for the cause?
Thank you so much. I feel that in India, we are still, when it comes to representations around LGBTQI people, I mean, it's not that great. I mean, we don't have enough representation in the media, and sometimes it is caricatured,
Yes.
It's made fun of. So I felt that for the queer movement, though we have made some strides with Section 377 being decriminalized and all that, I felt that there was a lot that needed to happen in the space of popular media, culture, politics, right? And when you are like LGBTQI and also Muslim, I mean, then it's always a double kind of double burden, I would say. So because Muslims are also stereotyped, and we are constantly fighting different kinds of stereotypes. So I started the Queer Muslim Project with one of the important ideas being that, how do you tell your story? And it's a very simple thing, like how do you tell another person that, look, this is how I am, and these are the terms on which I want to live my life, right? And that nobody else should get to have prejudices or misconceptions about you, and the narrative has to come from you. So one of the things that we've been doing very actively, I'll of course tell you more about the work, but one of the things that we've been doing very prominently is we use Instagram. We have a community of close to 15,000 people now, and young people, and we do this crowdsourced storytelling, like we do digital storytelling. We run campaigns, so where we have thematic campaigns on, say, different issues. Pride, we did one in Ramzan, we did one on self-affirmation, and different people from across, a lot of young people from across the world, they send us their stories with original images. The images could be your own image if you're comfortable and if you're out, but we also understand that a lot of people may not have that kind of privilege to be out, especially if they're from Iran, Iraq, or countries that may not recognize homosexuality or gay rights. So with that, what we do is we ask them to share an element through the photograph. But the photographs have to be original, just as the quote is your own quote here. So that's something we're doing on Instagram, and I'm happy to share that Instagram recognized it. Like, they did a case study and they found that the Queer Muslim Project was one of the more effective accounts on Instagram that was tackling hate speech, but in an innovative way.
I wanted to also ask you something else, but since we mentioned Instagram, don't you think the social media? I feel the social media has been able to consolidate the voice of the queer movement or the feminist movement also, for that matter. But especially queer movement, because that is a space where you could come. You would probably, if you're, as you very rightly said, if you're out, it's okay, or if you're not out, even then you can voice your opinion. If you're a supporter, you can voice your opinion.
Certainly, I agree with you. I feel that. The internet has always been a very, very important place in the lives of queer people, because in many ways there's a way to kind of cover your identity, right? You sometimes on the internet you can just use a different name and be out there and voice your opinion without necessarily having to be visible. What I am happy to note is that today a lot of young people are speaking, but they're also very visible. And they're saying that, look, we're not ashamed of who we are, and that these are the ways we are fighting stereotypes, and we are challenging, kind of all those wrong notions that you have around our identities. Definitely, internet has been a powerful medium, and I think for a lot of queer youth, I feel that it is like, and the way people are using TikTok, the way people are using Instagram, you will see very innovatively to bring issues that might... earlier it was difficult, right? Because earlier we depended only on the mainstream media and on films. But today a lot of young people are creating content.
On their own.
And, and there are, of course, as you have said, supporters and allies who are doing very LGBTQI friendly content.
Yeah, exactly.
And saying that, look, it's okay, this is just another issue, and move on.
So what does it do? I mean, how does it change the whole, or become more difficult for you as a Muslim and be a queer, from the queer community? How did you deal with it personally, and how did you take it on to your project?
I feel that there is this understanding largely amongst people that being gay and Muslim, they're not compatible, right? People will tell you, oh, it's un-Islamic, or it is sinful in Islam. But too often I feel that the nuances are lost. Like, people don't want to seriously engage with faith, especially when it comes to women's rights and sexuality. And I feel a lot of Indians in general, like, we say we are very religious, but we also don't know much. Right? We don't study this text very critically. We don't look at what are the available resources. So I feel that a lot has changed in that space. And I had the opportunity to live in the US for a year and be part of several interfaith events that were talking about LGBTQI rights within the space of faith, but very affirmatively. So I felt that in the context of South Asia, where we are so much close to the idea of family and also faith, and where religion plays a very important role in the public lives of people, at least, I felt that it was very important that we create conversations around faith, but conversations that are progressive, that are inclusive, that are recognizing people's differences and celebrating it. And it's been a difficult journey. That's one thing, of course, to engage with faith. That's critically. But there's also the other side, where you build the leadership of LGBTQI Muslims who may themselves not have access to information, who may themselves have suffered like stigma and abuses in their families and in their society. So I think we do a lot of offline events where we work with them. We talk about mental health. We talk about positive self-image, right, which is very important. We talk about building support and building community. And we again try to do it using art, using storytelling. In fact, I remember a few months back we did at American Center, we had an expressive arts-based workshop with a mental health practitioner, and the participants really loved it. In 2019, beginning of 2019, we organized India's first LGBTQI Muslim retreat. It was a 2-3 day retreat, and we had mix of things like community building. We had some sessions on Islam. We had mental health, and I think people really loved it. So I feel that amongst young people, there's a lot of interest and curiosity.
Yes, I wanted to also talk about, when we talk about coming out, yes, there is inspiration, you come out. So once you come out, you would need some kind of a support system. So how was it? Again, I come back to the question you didn't answer, that I really would like to know your personal journey, maybe if not in elaborate way, maybe highlights of how you had dealt with it or kind of faced it, or rather how you overcame it, because coming out is a difficult thing, and what kind of support you got, and what kind of support do people get through the queer project? Because again, coming out is one thing. I mean, all these things will inspire them to come out again, but then
you're right. I feel that the ecosystem is important. I mean, you can't just come out.
Yeah.
Sometimes coming out is a privilege. If you don't have a supportive family, if you know that coming out might risk your career or risk your safety, I mean, there's no point coming out just for the heck of it. So I would not encourage people to come out unless they know that they have the safety net. That's a very important point. Coming back to my own story, I grew up in a very small place in Assam. Like, I went to boarding school, but also grew up at a time when there was no conversation on LGBT rights. And of course, so I used to it was a lot of silence. And for me, it was a personal struggle. I was not able to understand what's this. I didn't know gay, lesbian. I didn't understand this identity. It was only after I came to Delhi University for my bachelor's in English literature, I realized that, there's so much, that there is so much to understand, so much to explore. That's how I also got involved with the queer movement, and I met people and learned that there's a very vibrant movement that is articulating, talking about rights, and that the world is beyond about gay and straight.
Yes.
I also feel that too often we fall in this binary of hetero homo, and I feel that there's so much more than that, right? And too often bisexual people are completely lost in the picture, and
so many others,
and also like different ways of expressing gender. I feel that it's like and people's identities are diverse, and I feel that at this moment of time in our country, I feel this is a recurring conversation about how we need to acknowledge and celebrate diversity as our strength and not as a weakness. So I feel that that's very important, and I personally feel that education has a great role to play, and especially for young people going to colleges, in fact people going to schools, they need to be taught about their bodies. They need to be told that there's nothing wrong if you feel in a different way. They need to be given access to information. You can't just use this idea of religion and culture to suppress people, which most organized religions and institutionalized religions have done. And so our work is also in many ways radical, because we are moving away from the space of institutionalized religion to say that what does it mean personally for people to practice Islam or not. And I think because then that gives you the space to open up, to question, to explore, and to really think of your faith in a more critical way, right? And understand its importance.
So now you're sitting here and talking, and I'm sure when you started this movement, and especially when you have this word Muslim in your project, that would have been a point where you must have faced a lot of ire. How was it?
Interestingly, I remember, because we started as an online platform. I started as a Facebook page, and then of course Instagram and a lot of other platforms have happened. But I feel that on Facebook we used to be trolled a lot. A lot of people would comment that, oh, this is un-Islamic and you should be killed and blah blah blah. So a lot of trolling. It's very depressing. But on Instagram, interestingly, that's how we moved to Instagram. We haven't. Once in a while, some people might write that this is un-Islamic, but it is an aberration, I would say. I feel that Instagram has worked for us in a more positive manner. Like, a lot of people who follow us are actually coming organically.
Yeah.
So they really enjoy the stories. They also love the fact that such diversity of stories. And you've rightly said that Muslim, words like queer, Muslim, we have so many associations. So for us, when we say the Queer Muslim Project, we are saying that there are different ways to be queer. Let there be no label to, nothing limits you. There are so many ways to be queer, and there can be so many ways to be Muslim.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a very personal thing. Your faith and your sexuality and your gender expression, these are very personal things, and let nobody else, over-determine it for you.
Recently, I've read a book, Carpet Weaver, from it's by Nehmat Sadat, and
Afghan writer.
It was Afghan writer and an activist again, and he writes about two Afghan boys who kind of had to face the Taliban, and they run to, of course, they go to US, and yet he struggles with his identity. So, when are you writing your book?
As I told you in the very big...
Lit Fest, so one would assume it's about a book.
As I told you, I'm a wannabe writer, but I'm also very lazy. So I hope that very soon.
Yeah, because I think your journey, like Nehmat Sadat's journey has been inspiring. His books have been inspiring. I think your journey would definitely inspire us.
I have many stories, and I think it needs to be told. So definitely, and thanks to you for encouraging. So that's definitely going to happen sometime soon. Yeah.
Sure. Any immediate future plans of any programs that you're doing you'd like to share with our listeners?
Right now, I'm trying to build the Queer Muslim Project we are trying to build a movement. We've come halfway, but I feel that we need to bring more people. So the Queer Muslim Project is not exclusive only to queer Muslims. It is open to everybody, to friends, allies, supporters, and I feel that the conversation has to now move beyond. We need to mainstream these conversations. It is everybody's issue, just as a woman's issue is everyone's issue. Animal rights is everyone's issue. So queer issues should be everyone's issues, because this is, at the end of the day, a question about human rights. So I feel that for me, the work would then be, how do I bring in more young people? How do I build more of these alliances and solidarities across movements? And how do we take this forward?
So how did JLF, the interactions here help? Did you have anything to take away from here? Because there are people from all over here.
So this is the first time I am speaking at JLF. I've come here in the past as a student long back, and so I feel it's quite an interesting shift. But I think it's a great platform. Certainly it's a great platform. It's a great boost for young activists and writers and scholars who are trying to understand some of these pressing issues that are happening in our country, and I feel it's a great place for collaborations. I am already super energized, as you can see in my voice, and I'm looking forward to talking to more people and really understanding how we can scale the kind of work that we are doing. And I feel that
which is the need of the hour.
Which is the need of the hour, and we need to connect these conversations, because we've been operating in silos. So I feel a place like Jaipur Lit Fest allows you to do that, allows you to really, and also to broaden your own thought, right? Because sometimes we are so caught in our own understanding. Mm-hmm. But when you hear different people, different perspectives, I think it just opens up so many doors. So really excited, looking forward to the next few days here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm sure people will connect back to you after listening to this. I'm hoping a lot of people would comment, share, and get back to us with their views.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.